again, everyone. It's your boy Kevyn M, and I'm sitting here with Christopher Weaver. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good to see you again.
It's good to see you too.
I just Sunday got the opportunity and privilege to meet Christopher during service at the God Environment, where you actually lead praise and worship.
Yeah, I was one of the praise and worship leaders.
Yeah, and you guys were so welcoming. So first off, I didn't get a chance to really say that, but I felt so welcome when I walked in the door. You guys were really inviting, and it was a really warm, family-oriented feeling. So thank you for that.
I'm glad.
So you're here at Brothers United. What exactly is it that you do here?
Well, I was part of Wave 5,
Okay.
one of the opinion leaders, and then it kind of just grew into other things. After talking to Quincy and Tony and Rich, they're starting a committee where I'm going to be the community co-chair, which I'm excited about that.
Cool.
Just so we can work on some outreach techniques and healthier options for reaching Black MSM.
Cool. I too am an opinion leader, so let's talk about that experience because that was fun.
Yeah, it was.
It was so much. What is something that you learned being an opinion leader during our training that you didn't know previous?
I think the one thing I took away from being an opinion leader is that everybody's opinion is valid. It comes from a particular place. It doesn't necessarily have to be all based on health facts or whatever, but everybody's experiences is different. Therefore, it makes it valid. So it was very interesting just to sit and hear how some people came to the conclusion for certain things, and then we have to, pair it with the actual health facts.
That's what I was about to go into. How do you feel that those different opinions help the cause of BU?
It helped because, again, since everybody's experience is different and everybody has different backgrounds, so those people in the room that were ministers, some that actually worked in the field itself, some that might have practiced unsafe sex or safer sex. I think it just helped. It formed a bond because in some parts of the conversation we all could relate to each other. Exactly. When nobody was perfect, there was no judgment in the room. Awesome. So it was the point of like, oh, I can relate to that, or I've been there, or I have a friend that might have been there before, and because of that, it was just real and down to earth. It was nothing pretentious in the room whatsoever.
So how has that helped you? Being an opinion leader, when you go to speak to other people, how has being in these training classes helped you out?
It reinforced my knowledge of sexual health information, HIV transmission, how to reduce it, and also we discussed even ways of having fun, safer sex. So, and how to talk to your friends, because it's kind of hard to broach the subject of safe sex with your friends. They tend to get a little shy, or they may get put off. So we talked about tactics on how to approach that as well, so that actually strengthen.
Cool. So if that person right there watching is your best friend and you want to talk to him or her about safer sex, what would you say to that friend right there?
I would tell them, him or her, that safer sex doesn't mean that it's going to be dull and boring. It doesn't mean that you're going to be in a rest home just lying. You're like, okay, I hope this is better than what I think. You can make it fun. There's flavored condoms. There's flavored lubes. There's different techniques on how to have. If you like a little rough, there's rough condoms built for that. If you like the condom to be almost invisible, there's condoms that are built. It's different ways to do sex and have it safe and to have fun. So I would tell them that, and then discuss what kind of things they might have been doing to make it safer.
Okay. So what are you guys doing? Because I know you said you're now going to be
the co-chair.
Co-chair. Yeah. So what do you look forward to happening with that program and that project?
I'm looking forward to community feedback because I'm going to be the community face for that. So I'm looking forward to brothers coming in and discussing what it is that's impacting them negatively or positively in the sense of preventing them from maybe not having these conversations with other people, trying to meet them where they are.
That makes me think, what do you think are the challenges? Why do you think it's so difficult for Black MSM to come together in one talk and to be a little bit more responsible about their sexual activity?
A lot of it comes from fear and judgment. The whole I'm really big on diversity. You know, a lot of people don't celebrate what it is to be a bottom, a top, or versatile. People think that versatility is like some strange, mysterious thing to be. Yeah. It's okay to be whoever you want to be. And I think a lot of times that people bring in their own stigmas and perceptions of each other, and then they think a top's supposed to be this particular way, or a bottom's supposed to be this particular way, and versatile people just don't even have a place whatsoever. So I think that is an issue. So I want to talk about those kind of things and how to get past them. Okay. And just expand our minds. Exactly. If you expand this head first, then the other head will be okay.
Right. Exactly. Cool. Well, thanks again, Christopher, for giving me this time.
You're welcome.
Even though I'm leaving, we'll we still have to continue these conversations because I think these conversations here are the things that are needed in our community, so where we can put it into this epidemic. So,
yes, definitely.
So thanks again for the time.
I wish you well.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for watching another episode of the Kevyn M Show. Stay tuned for more great videos and conversations and some really crazy cookie moments. All right, take care.
You finished with Tony?
Hi, I'm Smokie, and you're watching the Kevyn M Show. Today, I'm going to be interviewing my good friend here, Mr. Quincy Greene. He is the program manager. I'm going to call him a director, but he's the program manager of the Brothers United program, which is under Safeguard, and we're going to get a little bit more into that and what he does. So, Quincy, for everybody who doesn't understand what a program manager is and or what Brothers United does, can you please give a little synopsis on what that is?
Okay, so I'll start with your first question. Program manager means that I manage the program, Brothers United. I have two staff members who you interviewed, Tony and Rich. They both work for me. Tony's the program assistant and Rich is the counselor and tester on this project. Like for example, we're doing reporting. I'm responsible for getting that to the principal investigator. I'm responsible for our project meeting its goals, making sure the sessions run properly. I'm also a co-facilitator, so Tony and I co-facilitate our training sessions. So Brothers United is it's a CDC-funded intervention called DUP.
And for people who don't know what CDC means?
Center for Disease Control. They fund projects around the country focusing, in this case, on HIV prevention. And for Brothers United, or DUP, the focus is HIV prevention among black men who have sex with men. Encouraging them to use condoms. We do training sessions and we recruit opinion leaders, people who are credible, who have influence in their social networks. For example, Kevin was an opinion leader, and I'm trying to recruit you to come in and be an opinion leader too. So the hope is that these individuals who have influence, that they can encourage their friends to use condoms. Their friends will encourage others to use condoms, and hopefully we can change the norm in our city.
Okay, so I've actually been asking Kevin, since he is an opinion leader, especially since you have been asking me to come to these things. It's not that I don't want to, but I keep hearing about them, but I don't understand exactly. Well, I understand what the ideology behind an opinion leader is, but I don't understand exactly what they're trying to do and or what they are accomplishing. Because to me, it just seems like, they go through the training is good. Some people actually actively go out and talk to people in that aspect or whatever, but I don't understand what the actual goal of the entire program is. So if you could, try to could you explain to everyone what the goal of the program,
how that plays itself out.
Yeah.
So for example, like you, Kevin, and your friends are part of a social network, right? You probably have a lot of friends.
Yeah.
Let's say you have 30 friends. So Kevin's an opinion leader. His job is to have 10 risk reduction conversations. So 10 of the 30 friends in your social network, Kevin should be having conversations about using condoms, getting tested, If they're doing things that could be putting them at risk, he informs them of the risk level. So that's 10 people in your social network. Now if I recruit you, you would have 10 more conversations. So that means 20 people out of your total social network will be getting these risk reduction conversations. Ross was recruited. Let's say he has another 10. That means all 30 people in your social network could potentially have heard or had a risk reduction conversation. Now that doesn't mean that everyone is going to do it all at once, that everyone's going to do it the same way, or that they're going to do it with all the people in your social network. But the theory is, if I recruited the 3 of you, we've now covered your whole social network.
Okay.
So if before they weren't using condoms, after the 3 of you are recruited, if not more, hopefully some of them will begin adopting. And really we're only supposed to reach about 15%. So that means if your social network is 30 people, 15% of that's about 5.
Okay, so
but this is a community level intervention, so the goal is to reach 15%
of the community,
which we've estimated, and this is kind of technical talk, about 1,000 people.
Okay.
So we're supposed to reach 150 people over 5 years.
Okay.
150 opinion leaders, they each have 10 conversations. That means 1,150 conversations are happening in our community.
Okay, so
So you're not really supposed to see visually the impact.
The goal is supposed to be
happening. So a lot of what we do is actually on top of and in addition to what the intervention asks for. It really doesn't ask for social events. It doesn't ask for visibility. It really asks for you to reach the right people to have these risk reduction conversations.
Okay, so a lot of when Kevin was interviewing Tony and Rich, and even now as I interview, a lot of it has been like, when you talk about the opinion leaders, you say that they do it on their on their terms. Is there any events and or programs where y'all have where you bring the opinion leaders together and y'all like go out or anything like that?
So what you may not realize is movie night is actually a reunion. That's when a lot of the opinion leaders come and attend and come together. A lot of the people you saw there were actually opinion leaders. And so we have movies that talk about HIV prevention or issues affecting black gay men. So like, for example, Cover, you saw we talked a lot about the DL. We talked a lot about risk. We talked about HIV. The last movie night we talked to the producer and it turned into a conversation about risk. So the movie nights are really the chance for the opinion leaders to come back together and network with each other, and we asked them to turn in their conversation logs. So that's one of the pieces of how we track what they're doing, and we're in the process of trying to come up with a more effective way to track those conversations.
Okay, so I know that the program has been going on for a little bit now. So have there been any really triumphant moments or success stories with the program?
Yeah, I've been actually really excited about what we've done with Brothers United. When we first started, I'm going to be honest, there were people in the community who were kind of hating on us. They were like, you can't do it. That's not going to work in Philadelphia.
Of course.
And there were some people who actively said that they would try to, for lack of a better word, sabotage our project. They refused to collaborate. But what I've seen happen instead is that people are coming to us, asking us to come to their events, coming to do testing. If I ever post on Facebook that we're recruiting opinion leaders, people are like, can I be one? Can I be one? And it's like, the response that we've had on Facebook, the response that we have at events, we did our own BU ball. Unfortunately that day it was snowing, but there were over 100 people at that ball. And
I think I was there.
Yeah, you were there. You competed in it. You walked. I thought that went pretty well for us never having done a ball.
Drama free.
No fights. People competed. They got trophies. We gave out. We tested a lot of people that night. So that's a big success that we did a ball on our own. Yeah. So like that ball again. As I said, we had over 100 people there. We tested over 20 people. Typically, like at our movie nights, the last one we had almost 30 people. at our movie night. That was the most well attended, and we showed Finding Me Truth. We had the director on the phone for that one. We had the actor from Cover. That one probably had about 20 people.
So on average, you have about 15, 20 people
for the movie nights.
For the movie nights.
We did a fundraiser at Taboo for the AIDS Walk, and there were probably about 30, 40 people at that event. So it's averaging about 20 people per event.
For the not so large events, but
for not so large events, and then the large ones are about 100.
Yeah, because you had quite a few people for the parade.
That was a lot of fun. We did Gay Pride Parade, and we had opinion leaders and their friends there. You as well performed, and y'all turned it out. I mean, otherwise we would have been kind of. It would have been a very different experience.
It would have been a very different experience.
When we do our opinion leader trainings, this last one we had about 14 people in this wave. That's the largest. Normally it's like 5 to 7. So this time we doubled it. The next wave is going to be about 10 to 12 people. And what that does for us is it's going to help us exceed our year 2 goal. We exceeded year 1's goal. Year 1 we were supposed to recruit 24. We recruited 28 and retained all 28. This year we're supposed to do 40. I expect that we'll do about 42 or 44 opinion leaders. So to me, our program has been extremely successful. Tony and I have great chemistry as co-facilitators. Tony's like the rock star, I'm the robot. We go together very well. Rich has been great. I always say he has like the swagger on the project. He gets people tested and helps support us as co-facilitators. What other piece am I thinking? But again, I think the biggest success has been Facebook. We have about 1,200 members. My ultimate goal is to see by year 5 that we have 5,000 members. So about 1,000 members a year, and we've been on point to add about 100 members every month. And the conversations are just like intense. People will talk about, some people have talked about being positive. Some people, just recently, they were talking about snowballing, which later on, I know, about how risky is snowballing.
Ooh,
which is good. I think it's good for people to be talking about that. Yes. I mean, it really kicks the door wide open. It's like, and I had some providers come to me and be like, "Well, I didn't know what snowballing was until I saw it on there. Maybe I'll have that conversation with some people." You know, we've had people from Penn on the vaccine trial who comment on our page. We have people from ACO.
I remember that one time there was there was one specific post that I had commented on, or I had put up, and it was in regards to someone saying something about the numbers as far as people being HIV positive and or knowingly positive in Philadelphia, and there was like this study that the guy who was like the HIV vaccine or whatever. So like I remember that whole conversation with the doctor who came in and posted the link. So like I know that there are a lot of links and stuff that are in there with information and everything, and it's very you know, hands-on in that group. So like, you know, what are some things that, you know, you promote in that group since it's so hands-on?
And this is interesting because we've actually been getting some national attention to our website lately. I did a presentation in New Orleans, NASEM conference, about our work, and since then I've gotten calls from San Francisco and now Atlanta asking to do some evaluation on our Facebook page as to whether it could be used as an effective tool for HIV prevention messages. We promote lots of health topics that are closely related to HIV. STDs, we talk about, I've posted stuff about Hep C, stuff about gonorrhea, chlamydia, syphilis. We did a video with a researcher at Penn who's working on creating HIV resistant blood. Me and Tony feel like that video was ahead of its time. That video happened in 2011, and the impact of his work won't be felt until probably 5, probably after this project is over, but we feel proud that we talked to him now. We have posted information about HIV vaccines, about microbicides, which is, the concept would be a gel that you could apply either to your vagina, your anus, your dick, so that it would block HIV from being able to be transmitted.
You gave the technical term for 2 of them, and
the
crew was the third.
That's what I told you. I'm the robot. I'm the robot, but then sometimes I channel Tony, and you know, anything's liable to come out. Like the other day, we were talking about golden showers, because that was the second question somebody asked about.
I get on and ask about a Cleveland steamroll.
What is that?
Ooh, buddy.
What's a Cleveland steamroll?
I think we did.
See, this is what's important. What we're doing right now. We're talking about sex. We're talking about HIV. These are things that people are scared to talk about.
Okay, so recently on Facebook, somebody had posted, and I was interested. Somebody posted and said, somebody asked me, do I get into doing Cleveland steamrolls? And he was like, and I didn't know what it was, so I looked it up, and I fell out. So I'm reading this, so I'm like, I want to know what a Cleveland steamroll is, but I didn't want to comment on his post and try to, because I didn't want nobody thinking I was interested in, especially if it was something off the wall. So I went to Google. You know, Google know everything. So I went to Google and typed in Cleveland steamroll. Now, you know, I went to images at first because I thought that maybe it was something that, you know, a picture or something like that. No. So wasn't no pictures coming up, so I went to, you know, the search part of Google. And, you know, I was like, well, if it's something that was posted on Facebook, 9 times out of 10 it's something crude. So I wasn't looking for anything that was in regards to Cleveland. I looked immediately for sex, you know, my head. So I'm scrolling down, and then I get to like this link that goes to like sexual terminologies and like, you know, different names for stuff. So a Cleveland steamroll is when it's generally used in like, you know, sadomasochism and stuff like that. The submissive person is laying down on their back, and the dominant person stands over top of them, and produces feces onto their stomach, then sits down and rolls back and forth.
Oh, whoa. Well, let's talk about risk. Hepatitis. Possibly AD.
I was immediately grossed out.
Well, there are people that do this.
You know, there are people that, you know, I've heard of California potato chips and things like that. It's there are a lot of things that, you know, like different names for stuff, and I'm just like, you know, I didn't notice. Like, I just now found out the definition for spooning, and I've been doing that for years. I didn't know what it was. So like, you know, it's funny how, you know, Facebook is like, you know, very, you know, and like you learn so much from it from different people, especially when, you know, when you add friends who you don't necessarily know, but then they be like, oh, well, you're cute, or, you know, whatever, for whatever reason they add you, and then, you know, you start seeing different parts of people's lives and stuff like that.
Yeah, you see what they post and who
you see what they post.
Yeah, it's very,
you know, you might scroll through and just, you know, catch something, or like you notice something just out of the clear blue, a picture or a comment or something, and it sparks your interest, so you learn more. So, I mean, I learned something just by like, Cleveland steam, what is that? Like, I'm like, and that's why, like, the same thing, like with the snowballing, like, you know, there's not a lot of things, and I think that if you figured out, you know, how to get more people to, you know, learn these names and learn the risks or whatever, we might be able to break down those barriers.
Yes.
And
which is more risky, snowballing or golden showers? And so I responded, one, golden showers probably has no risk, really.
yeah,
at
actually,
least in terms of HIV, there isn't really any risk. But the health department person said there might be a slight risk.
because of the toxins in the urine. But the funny thing about that is, you know, urine, if they say it's a cure for athlete's foot, just saying. It
has some medicinal qualities to it, but there's very little risk, if any risk at all, in terms of HIV. Snowballing, on the other hand, has very little risk in terms of HIV, though it's better to swallow than it is to spit or be circulating cum inside of your mouth, because if there is HIV present, there is a slight chance that it could be absorbed in through your gums and potentially transmission, but the risk is very low, but it's still risky. In terms of STDs, it's not a good idea to, again, gargle or swish cum inside of your mouth. It's better to just swallow it straight down. But even with that, you still could potentially transmit gonorrhea, chlamydia, that would be present inside of semen or pre-cum. So in terms of HIV risk, swallowing is better. Snowballing is not a good idea. It looks hot, but you should probably avoid that.
You know, something that, and I'm just going to do it even though I'm going to just cut my voice out. But something that we talked about before with HIV, and it was just interesting. And it should be a known fact. But people who say, oh, you get it from the monkeys and you get it from bestiology.
No. It's called HIV, human immunodeficiency virus. That means it can only be transmitted between one human and another human. In monkeys, it's called SIV, simian immunodeficiency virus. In cats, it's feline. In cows, it's bovine. Each species has a different form of the virus. It can only replicate within species, not between. So, you know, a person cannot get HIV from a monkey.
A person cannot give HIV to a monkey.
A mosquito cannot transmit HIV.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
You cannot get HIV through saliva, through kissing, through sharing cups, through sharing plates, through sharing utensils, through sharing the same toilet, being in the same pool, giving somebody a hug. HIV is transmitted through
blood, semen, pre-cum, breast milk, and vaginal fluids.
Vaginal secretions. So there's 5 bodily fluids. Those are the only ones that can transmit HIV.
Even though pre-cum is essentially semen.
Well, no, because pre-cum typically doesn't contain any sperm.
Well, I mean,
it's more like a
people
lubricant.
Think about it.
Yeah, they tend to think they're the same. But pre-cum actually has more HIV in it than actual cum. That's something you would learn in our...
Learn something new today?
Yes. So when somebody says, oh, let me just stick the head in.
First of all...
And I'll pull out. I'm not going to come inside of you. Unfortunately, the harm may already have occurred. They may have already potentially transmitted HIV. And, you know, outside of HIV, you've already transmitted an STD if one is present. Yeah. So, like, a lot of people...
Because a lot of tract infections happen at the tip.
At the tip, or on the shaft, or wherever it might be present. And a lot of people think, oh, he smells good. He looks so clean. I love him. He's so sexy.
This conversation
he
recently.
pulled his dick out and it smelled so good and looked so good.
I had that conversation recently. The person said, if they look good, they can't be sick. I said, what?
2 reasons. 1, you cannot wash off chlamydia, gonorrhea, syphilis, HIV. The only thing that will clean your body of that is antibiotics or an antiretroviral drug that will bring you to undetectable levels if you take your medicine every day. So it's antibiotics, HIV meds. Those are the only things that will clean your body of infection. Now, about people looking good, in fact, the hotter you are and the better you look, you might want to be even more cautious because everybody is throwing ass and dick at that person. And most of the time, if that person doesn't use condoms, they're going to let them hit it raw. I've heard women tell me, they're like, if he's cute, oh, I'm not using a condom. But if he's ugly, I'm definitely using a condom because I don't want his kids.
That's...
Or boys who say, damn, he was so fine. He stuck it, he was like, let me just stick it in, so I let him do it. It's the fine ones you gotta watch out for. No shade on people who are cute and sexy, but you should really be extra cautious with someone who's very attractive because they may have potentially
it be
had
those
sex
ones,
with
you
a lot
know.
of people.
It be the ones where you be like, oh my God, everybody's after him, and I gotta keep him and everything like. Well, if everybody's after him, then that probably means that everybody's had him, and you need to make sure that he doesn't get you.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you should use condoms with everybody.
yeah, I mean,
honestly,
I
it's 2012.
treat everybody like they're infected.
As the amount of time it took you to write your status update, the amount of time it took you to like somebody's status, the amount of time it took you to log into Facebook, for you to turn your phone on, for you to send that text message is about as long as it takes to put on a condom. I was watching this one porno, and the dude put the condom on so fast, like, I didn't even know what happened. He just, like, grabbed it, said, whoosh, put it on, looped it up, and was ready in, like, 3 seconds flat. So there really is no reason. And I mean, you should not have to pay for them either. Like, you can come to...
And there's so many inventive and creative ways to do it and to, like, role play into it. Like, I don't understand why people don't integrate that into sex. Like, you know, I had a class. I don't know if it was here, but I had a class, and they actually showed you, like, fun ways of, like, putting on the condom with your mouth. And
cheeking.
It was just like, you know,
I think we should do a cheeking video. I think you might see a cheeking video come out of you. You're gonna see one come. I probably would need to, you know, improve my cheeking skills before I put it on video. I think Rich can actually do it, but yeah, you're gonna see a cheeking video come from BU.
It's an interesting technique.
It's hot because the
is,
dude don't even know. You're like, and there goes the condom without them even knowing.
I think it's sexy. I've done it a few times.
I mean, but I understand some people don't like condoms. They say it doesn't feel the same. It's too tight. You know, people are going to think that I have an infection if I use a condom, but one, there are all types of condoms of different sizes, and technically, almost every condom can fit over someone's fist.
We, me and Kevin actually did a promo thing, like, where he stuck one of his fists and I stuck my fist inside of one condom. So, like, both our fists are balled up inside of a condom. And it was just like, you know, the whole...
Correction. Both of our hands were in it.
No, the first picture was both our fists. We both bought, but then we stretched it out, like, we moved our hand apart, and we put both our hands.
It could fit over someone's whole head.
It could fit over a human head. So people who say, oh, it's too tight and everything, to me,
if it's too tight, you can use a female condom.
Yeah.
Now, if your dick is too big to fit a female condom,
you don't need to be having sex.
Then
you don't need to be having sex. Just, you know, to wrap things up or whatever. Can you, you know, inform people of some things that might be happening
in the future,
in the near future?
So we're coming somewhat to the close of year 2 for Brothers United. We're going to graduate Wave 7 on Thursday. 14 people will graduate. We actually just graduated 2 people who were hearing impaired. We had 2 opinion leaders who are deaf, and we had an interpreter, so that just kind of took us to a whole nother level. Wave 8 starts next Thursday. We've already recruited about 10 people. We'll probably have about 10 to 12 people in the next wave. That's going to run through March. We plan to do another movie night in March. This one will be DL Chronicles, and my dream, and I haven't quite gotten the full confirmation, is to have the producers conference call in from LA and answer questions about the movie and what the future holds for them. We will be at Black Gay Pride, so we're going to be doing testing there. We're also going to be doing a testing event with Enon, where last year we tested about 75 people, 75 black men. This year we want to exceed that and test over 100 black men at their men's health event. May, we're hoping to do a fundraiser for BU and Safeguards, so you're all invited, and we'll put some information out about that. June ends year 2, and we will be doing a anniversary event for Brothers United. We will have another ball in most likely the winter. So there's a lot of stuff going on. We have activities every month at our movie night, so if you want to find out about BU and be part of BU, come to our movie nights. We always post them on Facebook. It's always a nice movie. You get to network with people, and for any information, go to our Facebook page. You know, I'll be honest, it's not perfect. It's not a perfect page where everything is reviewed and approved before it's posted. We try to we try to get people to post PG-13 responses, but yeah, we can delete any post on there. But lots of good information. People are networking, socializing, and learning about HIV prevention in a fun, safe environment. Check out Tony's trivia questions. There's always a gift that you can get with it. Yeah, just follow us on Facebook. That's been our best way to get our message out there.
So, with that being said, everyone, I'd like to send out a personal message and say no glove, no love.
Yes, thank you.